Hi, I'm Commissioner Nancy Jester, and welcome to Nancy Jester Reports for Tuesday, June 12th, 2018. Today, your Board of Commissioners met in the regular business meeting to go ahead and vote on the items we reviewed in our Committee of the Whole previously. So let's get started. We had some presentations today to recognize World Refugee Day and the Youth Art Contest winners from Being a Bridge Builder Art Contest. So congratulations, we have a lot of talented youth in DeKalb. We had a few public hearings regarding traffic calming petitions. We had the beginnings of these petitions for Districts 5, Districts 3. It looks like District 5, there's a couple of them in District 5 and one in District 3. Check the agenda online if you'd like to look at the locations of those. So we also had before us a resolution for taking an order for declaration of taking for some right-of-way, but that was withdrawn by the administration. That was along Maple Street to South Columbia Drive for a water line replacement project, but that was withdrawn, so no vote happened on that. We had a deferral of a zoning in District 3, various perfunctory recordings and minutes items. Now, the other things that we did today involved procurement issues. We had various parks that had some procurement issues for improvements to parklands in District 3. Let's see, what else did we have? Memorandum of Understanding between Keep DeKalb Beautiful was deferred to committee, so we'll be talking about that next week. We did approve, so in District 1, these are some of the highlights for our district. The Stone Mountain CID, which spans District 1, 1 and 4, I believe, 1, 4, and 7. 7 is the super district. They added, I believe it's 20 commercial properties into the CID, so we were able to get those approved. So that happened today, which was good. They're doing great work in Stone Mountain CID, so congratulations to that whole group. I'm really pleased with the developments over there and how much they've cared for that commercial corridor and the improvements they have made. Let's see, we approved some grant funds. We have deferred, we've been working in the Finance Committee, which I chair. We've been working on our debt and investment policies for some time now so that we can incorporate best practices for public entities with regards to debt management and investment policy. We deferred those for 30 days, so we're just tweaking some of the details on those and making sure that everyone in the county and all the commissioners have had ample opportunity to read them and be familiar with those particular issues. We accepted some donations for a trailer for some training purposes for the from the International Association of Fire Chiefs. We approved an intergovernmental agreement with Forest Park so they can have access to our training facilities for fire services. We have approved the Sheriff's Office procurement of various pieces of equipment to include body cameras. Now our police, that's the Sheriff's Office, our police, we've already procured those in years past, so we do have the body cameras on the DeKalb County Police Department, all the officers there. Let's see, we did make, we approved a large procurement, over $1.2 million for a new hazardous materials response apparatus. That is an issue for District 1 because that goes to Fire Station 19, that's over at Mercer University. That is the hazmat fire station in DeKalb County. They serve a very important function. They're a very specialized fire unit in addition to being a fire unit that responds to regular fires and EMS emergencies. They are also specialized in hazardous materials response. So the last, I asked when the last time we purchased the specialized vehicle was, and it was back in 2001. So now that we've approved this procurement, we can expect this new piece of equipment, this $1.2 million specialized vehicle, to be delivered by the end of the year. And generally when that happens, we have an open house and and invite you to come see this new asset that we have. I think Station 19 is really an important station in DeKalb County. It's in District 1, and those guys do fabulous work, so I'm looking forward to that. Let's see, again, a number of other procurements in the FAB committee. we had recommended and approved by the full board today, just stuff to manage payrolls and just basic things like that. So let's see, other interesting items. A number of public works procurements were done. What I will call attention to is we were able to get two important things for District 1 done. In the city of Dunwoody, we were able to get a procurement approved for the county component part of an intersection improvement that the city of Dunwoody is doing right at Mount Vernon Road and the Vermac-Manhasset intersection. So the city is doing some intersection improvements, and we're doing a water main improvement, and the city is going to project manage the entire intersection improvement, including the water main improvement. And so we're just reimbursing the city. So the city procured it and sent us the request for that reimbursement. So we have approved that today, so the city can continue down their path of improving that intersection. Dunwoody also agreed in an intergovernmental agreement regarding a distribution of e-host money for the first quarter of this year. So that was very important, and we're pleased with that. In other news, the Commission put forth a climate change resolution to discuss various ways, market-based approaches to tax entities for carbon emissions. I voted no as the only no vote. They were basically passing a resolution to ask state and federal governments to institute some tax scheme to, again, tax carbon emissions and redistribute those funds elsewhere. I voted no. There were some good things in the resolution, but just overall, it's not something that I could support at this time. And it doesn't change anything in DeKalb, so there's no net effect on you as a citizen in DeKalb. We approved the funding of a senior center in District 4. This was something I voted against, not because I was against District 4 having their senior center, but I disagreed with the funding methodology, and this is something we're going to visit more later, and we'll go into more detail. But basically, this is a community development block grant funding mechanism versus general fund funding mechanism, and I would like to see it come from that community development block grant, which is federal money, versus general funds, which is your property tax dollars. So was not on board with the funding methodology, so I did vote no on that. But we have more to study about the federal community development block grant program money, because there may be changes in the future that could be advantageous to DeKalb, actually. So we'll discuss that more later. Let's see, again, various procurements for things. We still are deferring the consent decree program management services from CH2M Hill because we are still working on the language of that particular contract. I'm now in favor of moving forward with that contract. I had been negative to neutral, but based on some changes recently in the way we're moving forward, I'm supportive of this contract extension and renewal with CHM Hill for program management services, but there's some language changes that need to happen in the contract to make me comfortable as a commissioner. So the administration is still working on that, and I look forward to bringing that to an end soon. I will note that this weekend, or yesterday, with a heavy rain, so that's Monday, we had 2 SSOs, one minor and one major. Major was one that's a repeat spill site on Melanie Court in Decatur, south of Decatur. We don't have the volume numbers on that yet, so I can't tell you the number of gallons that we estimate were spilled. We'll update you on social media when we know that. And just before taping this, I had a notice of a minor spill on the Buford corridor near Skyland, so we will get more information and put that on social media as well. It's again being listed as a minor spill, so stay tuned for that. The one committee that we had today was the Ops Committee. We reviewed a number of procurement items that were pretty bland, and we're able to get those through computer equipment procurements off of state contracts and so on, some maintenance issues. The main issue we talked about was the animal services RFP. So in DeKalb County, we're obligated to provide animal services countywide, and we have a shelter. You're probably familiar with the new shelter we built in the Chambly area right near the airport. And so animal services in DeKalb is really two components. There's the shelter component and there's the enforcement component. And we have an outside vendor, Lifeline, who has done a great job in their humane and respectful treatment of animals and their frugal operation of our shelter. So it's time to bid that contract out again, and we have been in discussions, the commissioners have been in discussions with how that RFP would look and exactly what's the scope of that when it goes out to bid. And we also were talking about the enforcement piece, because the county has employees that essentially do the enforcement, go out, pick up strays, deliver them to the shelter. The shelter then works to get them adopted and works with their rescue partners. And we're a no-kill shelter, I should say. Now we have that designation, which means such a low percentage of animals have to be euthanized that we receive that designation. And the Animal Advisory Board has worked very hard to make sure that that became a reality in DeKalb. They were at the committee meeting today to discuss this RFP so that we scope it out properly for bid. And they have concerns about the enforcement piece. I think my preference right now would be, why can't we bid both out so that we can get a unified enforcement piece and shelter piece, so we have seamless integration between the folks running the shelter and the folks doing enforcement, so there's not some sort of different mission, different philosophy, and different reporting, people reporting to different groups under that. I'm not sure we're going to be able to get to that point yet, but we did discuss that, and we did discuss how we might get to that path in the future. Again, we're still developing the RFP, so more to come on that. That's not been released yet, so it's still possible that both things could come out. Probably not likely. Probably we will just bid the shelter operations and look at keeping enforcement in-house, but yet hopefully I'm going to be optimistic that we'll be improving that enforcement piece and more in keeping with our much more humane and respectful treatment of animals that we have now with our shelter provider. So that's all for today, and as always, we'll be back next week with another edition of Nancy Jester Reports. Thank you.